Hey, it's Alan Berg. Before we get into this episode, I'm starting something called Ask Me Anything. That's right. You submit your questions and they could become an entire episode or something that I answer at the end of an episode. To submit your questions, look for the red button at podcast.alanberg.com. That's right, podcast.alanberg.com. Click on the red button, submit your question, and maybe you'll hear it here on the podcast. Thanks. Why is it that people still ask how much first? Listen to this episode and see why. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, author, sales trainer, website reviewer, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. This is another Ask Me Anything suggestion, this time from Randy up in Canada, who writes, why is it that 85% of all brides, in caps, when they come to booking a professional DJ for their special wedding day, all caps, the very first question they ask is, how much do you charge? Right off the bat. When I hear this, red flags go up immediately. They do not want to know first and foremost what values you can bring to the table for them on their special wedding day. Very frustrating. Randy, I'm sure a lot of people feel your frustration on this one, and I could give a very short answer. And some of you know that already, probably already said that out loud because you've heard me say it and other people say it. They ask how much because they don't know what else to ask. So let's go back to what else you said over here. Red flags go up immediately. Put the red flags down. The red flags are not going up when somebody asks how much. I'm sure that you, just like I, and a lot of people, if not everybody listening, has at one point or another asked somebody how much something cost when it was not really the best question to ask. We just didn't know what the best question to ask is because we've never bought that service or that product before. It's just human nature. When we don't know what else to ask and we know there's a transaction that's going to be involved, we ask how much. When we have a better question, we ask a better question. So going back to, you're saying they first and foremost, don't ask about the values that you bring and things like that. Well, that's the job of your website. That's the job of your advertising, your marketing, your social, to get across what you bring to the table. So by the time they reach out to you, they want to be a part of those values. They want to be a part of the results. Actually, they want to get the results that you talked about. Because if you're selling products and services as a DJ, and it doesn't matter what you do here, you could be an officiant, you could be invitations, you could be transportation or video or whatever, right? They're going to ask how much because they don't know what else to ask. What you want to make sure is that you're not selling your products and services. You're selling the results they can only get from you. And then when they reach out, it's because they want those results. Now, part of this is also self-inflicted. If your website has no pricing on it, then you're encouraging either people to bypass you because they don't have any idea what you charge, don't even know if they're in the ballpark, or they reach out because they love your photos and your text and your reviews and things, but I don't know how much you charge. So I'm asking that question because you didn't answer that. And I've talked about this on other podcasts. I've written about this in Shut Up and Sell More and Why Are They Ghosting Me and Wit Wisdom in the Business of Weddings. I talk about different ways to talk about prices. And this is why my favorite way to put pricing, if you're not going to put your full pricing, I'm not saying you should, I'm saying if you are not putting full pricing, then putting a price range gives people that idea of what you charge. And I'm sure we've all had that thought. Can you give me an idea how much this is? I've never bought this before. What does that cost? Right? And you can't give an exact price because you don't have the details, but you can say that, well, it typically runs from here to here. Most people in your situation are going to end up around here, whatever that is. I don't care if you're selling a wedding or a bar mitzvah or a holiday party or a fundraiser, whatever. You can give them an idea. And that's a big range. It's okay for it to be a big range, but giving them an idea. And when you do that, you reduce the inquiries. And when somebody reaches out and says, how much do you charge? Instead of the red flags going up, I want you to see the dollar signs going up because that is a buyer who has reached out to a very small number of companies, and you are one of them. You, my friend, are in the game. The coach told you to suit up because you have a chance right now. All right, choose your sport. Get up at bat, get the puck, whatever it is, okay? So when somebody reaches out and says, how much do you charge? You want to continue the conversation. You want to be somewhat transparent with them to let them know, I'd be happy to give you pricing. I can't just throw you a number because I don't know enough details. And here's why. And my phrase that pays, and I've written about this. I've talked about this. It's in the books. It's in my sales training. I'd love to give you pricing information. Before I give you a number, I want to make sure I don't leave out anything that's important to you. And certainly don't want to charge you for things you don't need. Let me get a few details. Be happy to give you a price. Or our prices range from here to here. Most people like you, most couples, most companies, most parents, whatever it is that you're selling, right, are going to end up somewhere around here. So just pick whatever those numbers are. So whether it's from, these hundreds to these hundreds, whatever, from these thousands to these thousands, these tens of thousands to these tens of thousands, doesn't matter. Give them a realistic range. Don't hide from your real numbers. So most of our fill in the blank, let's say it's a wedding. Most of our weddings for video, they go from 3,000 to 8,000 plus. All right. Most of our couples end up somewhere around 5,500. Again, I'm just totally making up numbers here, but you get the idea. And then you continue the conversation, right? If you put that on your website, not theoretically, you will get less inquiries, right? Theoretically, everybody that reaches out has a budget within that range because you've told them what that is, but you also need to be transparent about that. I talked about that on another episode. You're putting the price, but you're really being transparent. I saw somebody the other day who told me they had price on the website, but it was so far down the page and just another line of text among lines of text, you really have to go searching to even know it was there, as opposed to others where put it, boom, here it is. Here's the prices. One of my clients I was just working with, they have two different companies at two different price points. And the lower price point, they put the prices right out there. And the higher one, they put a range, right? Because the lower one, it's like, we know we're competitive at these numbers. We're below the middle of the market. So we're going to put the numbers out because we're attracting those exact people. And at the higher end, it's a range because they want to attract people with a higher budget. So Randy, get the red flags, put them away, put up the dollar signs instead, because when somebody says how much, they're only talking to you and a very small number of people. And that is someone that is already interested in the results that they've seen that you are putting forward through your photos, through your text, through your reviews and things like that. So expect it. Don't be surprised when somebody, or upset when somebody says, how much does it cost? When somebody asks me how much it costs to come for sales training or how much to come to do a mastermind or speak for your event or whatever, I don't go, oh, here's another one. I go, oh, wow, I have an opportunity right now. I have an opportunity because I'm having a conversation that 99% of the people that do something like what I do are never going to have. So it's a great opportunity. Put the red flags away, Randy. This is a great thing. When they ask how much, it doesn't mean they can't afford you. It doesn't mean they won't pay more. And it doesn't mean they're shopping for price. They're still shopping for an experience, and you provide a better experience, not being offended when they ask how much and having that be your attitude, but instead being, thank you for giving me a chance to tell you about how amazing I can make your wedding or your event. And then tell them how much it would be to do what they want. Ask for the sale. We don't sell to their budgets. We sell to the results that they want. And that's why so many couples end up spending more, and even companies end up spending more than they originally planned, because they buy the results, not the number that they came up with on the budget. So keep the suggestions coming. Go to podcast.alanberg.com. Click the button for the Ask Me Anything. Make your suggestions there as well. Randy, thank you up in Canada for the suggestion. See you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe to this channel and post a review on your chosen platform, Apple Podcasts or whichever one. If you have any questions about anything in this episode or any of my episodes, email me directly at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com or visit my website, alanberg.com. alanberg.com. If you have any suggestions for future topics or guests that you'd like to see, please again, email me or visit my website. Thanks for listening.